of Nigeria Employers Consultative Association, NECA, where she served as the financial secretary of the new cooperative in 2013 for 5 years. She's currently the chairman of the Summit 2020 Planning Committee. She trains in the human resources and youth empowerment programs. She's married with 2 kids. When she's not working, she watches movies, designs, read, and counsel marriages and youth. I hereby welcome Mrs. Bolanle Edwards. A round of applause for her, please.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Shalika. Thank you. Thank you for taking the responsibility of moderating today. Thank you so much. I welcome everyone to this 2020 Children's Day. It's an unusual one, no doubt. We are now in the new normal where we're not meeting physically. We've been having Children's Day in the last 4 years. We've been celebrating Children's Day every 4 years by gathering children and stakeholders under one roof to discuss the safety, general safety of our children everywhere they find themselves, either they're at home, either at school, or when they're on the road. And this is why we came on to say this thing we are doing should, we won't stop it. We'll continue to do this because this is a passion that we've always had for so long. So children are very important in the society, and we've also discovered that children they're voiceless, they're the vulnerable, and most of the time they don't get spoken for. And that's why SSCF and SSCF Child Foundation has been here for quite a while now, since 2009, to be the voice for the children and also be at the forefront of safety advocacy in our nation, Nigeria. I have a very small slide to present now. If Ade, will be kind enough to throw in the slide. Please, can we do without a video, except for the speaker and the moderator? It would be nice for us to do without the video. It helps with the flow. It helps with the flow. Thank you. Let's turn off our video. Thank you so much. Can we have a slide, please? Thank you. Can we also mute if you're not talking, so that we can have a flow? Thank you very much as you mute your mics. We have actually muted. I don't know why we're still getting some funny feedbacks. Okay.
Sorry, good morning. Sorry, good morning, please. Hello.
Ade, please, can you mute? Okay, the topic for this year. Can we mute, please? Ade, shouldn't get all this feedback. Safety of the physically challenged child, the challenges, the solutions, and the way forward. That's the theme was actually, the theme came out of the fact that we've looked at the physical, that they haven't really, that space has not really been dealt with when it comes to safety in this part of the world. People are doing a bit of safety measures there and there, but it hasn't been really, it hasn't been so good. So this is something that came towards the SSCF and SSCF Child Foundation, and we thought that we should be able to go into that and more. So the conversation continues even after this webinar. Next slide, please. Please, can we be kind enough to mute your mics? Please. We have muted, but you know, we just never know how those things work. We have muted from the moment we put on the Zoom, and we're still getting funny feedback. It won't be nice for people to be disturbed. Please try and mute your mic if you're not talking. Thank you very much.
Please, can kindly hold on, please. I want to know who is the hearing impaired that is in this meeting right now, because I'm the sign language interpreter that should be rendering service to him or her.
Okay, I think you should talk with Mrs. Bayoko. I'm sure you know her, so that you can do the sign language. Are you the one with the mic on right now? Are you the one with you're the interpreter? You're the interpreter.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, I think you should, because she's been talking to you, so it would be nice for you to liaise with her. I don't know the people who have impaired hearing.
Okay. I'll try to
Okay,
sort that.
okay, thank you. Please, thank you. I'm trying to mute your mic. Thank you very much. In support of the SDG 3, Good Health and Wellbeing, Target 3.6, which states by 2020, halve the number of global deaths and injuries from road traffic accidents. Strap and Save Child Foundation is a non-for-profit organization that advocates the importance of children's safety on the road, in the home, in school, and everywhere that children are. Okay, can I have the next slide, please? Out of the passion we have at Strap and Save Child Foundation for children's safety, we're coming across some alarming statistics on child mortality due to road domestic accidents. Strap and Save Child Foundation has a mandate for promoting safe driving and children transiting habits. The use of seat belts and other forms of restraint is appropriate to reduce the risk of death in the case of an accident of children between the ages of 8 and 12. The reason why we picked this age bracket, which of course is also supported by the WHO, is the fact that that's the formative stage for children, and we can't afford to lose them at that time, not at any point in time, but that period is the formative years and they need to be properly safe. And because they don't have the power and the responsibility of taking charge of their own lives, we as parents and guardians are there to make sure that they stay safe anywhere they find themselves. So at SSCF, we reiterate the better than sorry approach to our campaign and inform stakeholders about safety-related habits on the road, at home, in school. Our interventions addresses the danger of not using restraints for children in moving vehicles and the fatal consequences of disobeying traffic laws. I'm sure for some of us who live in Nigeria, we all know very well that strapping up a child in the car, or even adults using seat belts, it's not something we see easily on our roads. And when people get sanctioned or penalized for it, they begin to wonder that, hey, this is not part of us, it's not our culture. Can I have the next slide, please, Ade? You know, so it's not part of us. It's not common to see that. You see how long it took for us, even the drivers, to start using seatbelts. And then asking the children to be strapped. It's been an Herculean task. It's something we've been advocating, and we trust that our government someday would implement the law. We have a tripod approach to our safety interventions, being safety at home, safety on the road, and safety at school. I hope I'm still very, can I get it, for me, can I get a thumbs if I can see me well? Because I'm not sure.
Yeah,
Okay.
we can hear you well.
Okay, thank you. The interventions for the home, okay. The interventions for home, it's, of course, we intervene with the parents and caregivers, teaching them safe habits to the children through their parents and caregivers. Safety on the road as well. Okay, thank you. Can we mute the mics now? Can we mute the mics? Thank you. Interventions in collaboration with the FRSC, to teach vehicular and pedestrian safety. And so interventions in schools through the Strap and Save Safety Advocacy program called the SSCF It is through this channel that we drive safety habits through fun learning to children in primary schools. We currently run safety clubs in 5 public schools and 5 private schools in Lagos as we speak. Can I have the next slide, please, so that we can run through this? Okay, why are we looking at the safety of the physically challenged child? We have also observed, and with some of my colleagues, we can agree with me, that the physically challenged in our society haven't really been getting a lot of support when it comes to safety. The experts are going to talk about this, and somebody who is actually on the wheelchair is also going to speak. But the little we are going to share this morning, that it's our desire as Trap and Safe to delve into this world of physically challenged as it relates to safety. It's to this reason that this discourse has been put together so that we can understand the world that they live in. Basically, that is what we'll be discussing today. Okay, thank you very much. The presentation, it's, I'm done on this side of the divide.
Thank you to their convener, Mrs. Bolali Edward, for that presentation. I think with that, we'll have an idea of what we are here to do today and what we are expecting. Now, I'd like Mrs. Abiola Lasende to welcome in, to introduce our speakers to us today. Welcome, ma'am. You can unmute your mic, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Fumilola. Good morning, everyone. It's so good to be on this webinar this morning. For me, it's fresh of breath air. It has nothing to do with COVID. I'm just focusing on, you know, some very important aspects of our lives as people, as parents, as teachers, as guardians. So we are so delighted to have everyone join us on this fresh conversation. And again, I would like to say Happy Children's Day, everyone. Please convey our appreciation to the future of our world, our children. We know some of them are on now, and some of them are actually in class, you know, having their virtual classes like mine. So let's keep the message of today upward. I'm really grateful that talking something really different this morning. So on that note, we'd like to bring our speakers on board. We'll be having Mr. Patrick Adenusi come on first, give us his presentation. Mr. Patrick Adenusi is MD at Safety Beyond Borders, convener of Road Safety Coalition of Nigeria. He's always had a passion for safety within and outside the country. Ladies and gentlemen, our distinguished participants, Mr. Patrick, we hope you're here.
Good morning.
He's been here.
Fantastic. Welcome, sir. Please take the mic.
Thank you very much. Good morning. Good morning, everyone. It's a honor to be. At least my Oga's cap is encouraging me as I'm seeing him there. Thank you for the opportunity to be part of this program. Just like we all know, we live in the part of the world where life has very minimal value. The ones that are not physically challenged are not even properly cared. Display, please. The ones that are not physically challenged are not even properly cared for. Zeroing it down to this country, aside from the fact that your family members can really identify that you belong to the family, as there is actually no foolproof or immense benefit to say that you're a citizen of Nigeria. Can I have the presentation, please? Olumide Abi.
Adeyi.
Adeoye.
Yes.
Adeyi.
I'm on it. I'm on it.
Okay, please send it in. Adeyi.
An updated version.
Oh, sorry.
Okay, while we wait for him to come, so I can actually keep talking. You know, so the the even the ones that are not physically challenged don't have the expected care and attention. So to expect the physically challenged will be fully engrafted into the system, Nigeria, is actually expecting more than we should expect. But it's nice that about issues, because the secret of impact is continuity. The more you talk about it, we are making progress inch by inch and little by little. And within a short period of time, we'll be able to break through it, wherein everything will be properly done. I need to say this quickly, that anyone who is physically challenged didn't choose to be so. And many became changed. Some can be explained. Quite a lot in this part of the world, we deliberately choose to make it so. Example, if you get to a traffic incident point and you see the way the victims are being rescued, some they become challenged, they develop complications just by the way that they were rescued. The other side of it is Nigeria, the face of the earth. Next slide, please. And so that in itself is a huge challenge. People cannot eat what they should eat that will give them the required and everything they need to form. And when you go to the health sector, like I said, yeah, you see the way people are being rescued. Let me give you an example of someone that is currently undergoing pain every day, but they have chosen that that is what fate has brought their way. They had a child born in Nigeria, and because oxygen was not given to the child when she needed that kind of attention, she developed some complications and as a result, he lost the use of his hands and legs. And it was their first child. Young couple just got married. Family members took off from them and looking at them that, oh, how could you have given birth to a strange kind of person? We don't have this in our lineage. And so this young man took the wife and the child. They relocated to America. Today, as we speak, they're in the United States of America. The wife cannot work. Her job 24/7 is that child. And the medical experts in America said, had that child been given oxygen within the first 30 minutes of delivery, that wouldn't have happened. Now, you can see how much damage we have done to ourselves, not doing the right thing. It's not the choice of his destiny has been altered for life. And that's the parents. Next slide, please. And so, the issue of disability is not a Nigerian thing, it's a global concern. Just like WHO said, they said more than 1 billion people are estimated to live with some form of disability. In the West, and care that the physical challenge enjoy, even the one that is whole, sometimes will desire that, oh, how I wish I was physically challenged. World Health Survey estimates that 110 million people have very significant difficulties in functioning. Without somebody helping them, they can't do anything. And the global burden of disease estimate puts it at 190 million people have severe disability. Now, of the 7 billion people on the face of the earth, more than 1 billion have physical challenge. That's huge. Just like sickle cell, the way to stop sickle cell is for AS marrying SS, SS marrying SS, AS stop not marrying AS. We can also do a lot in reducing disability in the world. Next slide, please. And these are not rocket science. We already know that, for example, in this part of the world, inadequate policies rarely will you go to an estate with 200 houses and find 2 that are designed to accommodate anyone who is physically challenged. Government offices are not different. So from our town planners to the architects, the builders, there is need for them to see the physically challenged as part of our world. Currently, they don't see them as one. And as a result, their jobs are not done in a way to accommodate this sector. 1 billion is a lot that can't be ignored. Inadequate provision of transport. If you go to London, for example, a physically challenged person, the buses' capacity to tilt for a wheelchair, there are wheelchair ramps that the wheelchair will just climb into the buses. But the buses, our transport system here does not accommodate physically challenged people. A lot of people can't eat well because of their state. They are so poor. They eat eba in the morning, they drink garri in the afternoon, they eat eba in the evening. And so they are short of some basic things that need to form well. A lot of people still go to deliver care homes. Nigeria, 2020. And if you go to the northern part of the country, hygiene is in a sorry state. It's higher there than in other parts. It's the same in the west and the east, but the magnitude of the poor hygiene in the north is so huge that it can't be ignored. Next slide, please. So as much as possible, when government is even taking decisions about the physically challenged, they don't even involve them. So how can you think for someone who has visual impairment? I don't have visual impairment, so I can't really answer or see things how his world is. So there is need for us to join them, seek their contributions that are directly affecting them. I mean, look at this man. He's physically challenged, but he's a farmer. he can still do all of this sitting on either a wheelchair or a motorized wheelchair. He will be able to function better, but he can't afford a wheelchair, so he needs to survive. And at the same time, he wants to contribute to the society. He doesn't want to be a burden. So what he's doing, see the state he's at, see how he's practicing what his profession is, which is farming. Next slide, please. Next slide. So negative attitudes of families, these are some of the challenges. Does not see the value in investing in teaching of children with disability. Even the ones that are not disabled, they haven't really made good provisions for them. You know, health workers' attitude. Go to an hospital in America and you see the environment, it looks like a fight. The person who is healthy, who traveled from Nigeria to America and goes to visit someone in the hospital with desire to be sick. You know, so employers discriminate against people with disability. Government don't do anything to them as much as they should. Next slide, please. You know, so relatives avoid any of their loved ones whose children have form of disability or the other. And the way forward is need to push through very, very strong and aggressive advocacy. So for the physically challenged, seen and recognized integral part of our world, quite a lot of exploits are being made by people with disability, much more than people who are able. There is a journalist in this that we have close access to. I mean, he's a motivation. He challenges me every time I encounter him. Sound and excellent. But I see all able-bodied who and women who cannot, I mean, compared to 1% of this young man. So we need to have our hospital well equipped. I made a statement during the lockdown. I said the world is not going to remain the same again, except Nigeria. If it was possible for the people in positions to travel, none of them will be left in Nigeria. All of them would have traveled and handed over their official capacity functions to their assistants, because they will go to the West to go take care of themselves. So if our health system to see transformation COVID, I don't think so. But it is extremely necessary. So the trans system should also be redesigned in a way that it will accommodate the physically challenged. To pregnant women during their antenatal classes, they should be able to help them with what they can eat and what they shouldn't eat. I mean, a pregnant woman, just because they can't afford it, they take what they shouldn't even be taking during pregnancy. Next slide, please. So as much as possible, we need to push very strong advocacy, pushing in all of these. And government, like I said earlier, should do a lot of and the physically challenged on matters that affect them, so we will be able to see things from their own angle. We should also advocate, and government should endeavor to educate other citizens that the physically challenged they didn't choose to be so. So increased awareness and the understanding of how people became challenged should also be brought to the front burner. Our infrastructure should be designed to cater for the needs of the physically challenged, design specific training programs and services for them, vocational trainings, so that we will have less of them on the street begging. Growing up, I saw several disabled people who were blacksmiths. I saw several disabled people who were shoemakers. I saw several disabled people who were tailors. I saw several disabled people who were draftsmen the one that we call architect today. You know, so government should not just leave them to be a burden on the society, or they cannot help themselves as much as they should be designed, institutions should be designed to be able to accommodate them into the society. Next slide, please. Ade. So we must equip our hospitals and encourage personnel to specialize in care relating to the physically challenged, government and the private sector to build more schools, the public and private properties to be inclusive in design and development. And I like to admonish us to be more accommodating to all that are physically challenged. I did touch the last button. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you so much, Mr. Adenusi. You've really given us some great insights into this topic, and we're extremely grateful to you. I think it's been an eye-opening session, and thank you so much, sir. If I could attempt to summarize what you have gone through, you've admonished us that the secret of impact is indeed consistency. So we need to be consistent in our campaigns for both the physically challenged as well as the not physically challenged children. While some were born with disability, many of them suffer disabilities because of medical errors, lack of proper health infrastructure, and so many other things that they absolutely had nothing to do with them. You've given us some great statistics into, in fact, they are mind-boggling actually, into the world of the physically challenged. Unfortunately, we don't see the physically challenged as part of our world, especially in the emerging world like ours, like Nigeria. So we don't consult them when we're doing our policy formulation. We don't even think about them when we're building, doing all, the development here and there around us. As little as putting an elevator that would be convenient for them. We don't have all of this infrastructure in place because we don't think about them. And you've also said that there's discrimination, negative attitude of the society against this one. It's rather unfortunate that we think less of them. We look at them and we actually look down at them, And for the way forward, you have admonished that we should, of course, increase the advocacy, that we should see them as an integral part of our lives. They are here with us. Some of them, like you have emphasized, did not ask to be the way they are. Some of them were through the human errors, their parents, the medical facilities. And you have said that we should help them to become future fit for employment, for good living, for their vocation. And you have said this, that we need to think about them when we're doing the policy formulation, we're designing, we need to consult with them, what will make them better people, and also feel as parts of because they are humans first and foremost, and a part of us. So thank you so much. I'm sure our participants will have a lot, of questions and comments, but more importantly, we have a lot to take back home. I mean, I'm seeing from a different perspective already from this, your 20 minutes, 25 minutes presentation. So we cannot thank you enough. Would like to announce that session is also live on Facebook. Please tell your neighbor, tell your friends, just put it on your WhatsApp platform that we are live on Facebook. And on Facebook, we will have the opportunity to also drop our comments. Well, sorry, there's a bit of a technical glitch on our platform. So the chat room where we can actually put our comments and questions have not been, hasn't been activated. So please bear with us. We're working on that back end, but in the interim, you can also log on through Facebook and drop your comments, your questions therein. We have a second speaker. I'm so excited. We have two powerful speakers for this, our session this morning. We have Miss Olufunke Ogunrombi. Just give me 1 minute to just check if she has been able to join us. Bola on now?
No, she
Bola,
hasn't. She hasn't. She has not been able to join. Yeah.
Okay, and she can't call in. She able to call in? No?
We'll see what we can do about that. We can, let's see, let me speak with her. Let me speak with her.
Okay, while you're doing that, Bola, we just want to appreciate some VIPs on this session. We have the board of directors, the board of trustees of the Strap and Safe Child Foundation. They are here with us. We can see Mrs. Kemi and Mashaum. I spotted our chairman. Oh, fantastic. The chairman is still on with us. Mr. Idi Enang. I wish they could just give us some thumbs up, or just just signify that they're still here. I have Mrs. Kenny Anima Shaum.
Hi, Biola. Good morning, everyone, and thank you. Have a great time. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you, Biola.
Thank you, sir. Well, I'm going to have to say this. The chairman doesn't like this, but I'm going to say it anyway while we're waiting to bring Miss Ogorombe on. Ladies and gentlemen, today is also our chairman's birthday. It's Mr. Idi Enang's birthday.
Hey, happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Happy to you. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday to you.
Please.
Thank you, Ike, for that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Will not permit us to have a symphony, allowed to, have a symphony. So we are going to have just a, what's it called? The noise and all that. So let's hold on with that. Somebody's actually blowing a whistle right into my ears.
Is it
No,
Thank you.
Thank you very much, everyone. I'm grateful.
I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Thank you for everything you do for Strap and Safe Child Foundation. We're super grateful for God's awesome grace on your life. Thank you so much. Happy birthday once again.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so I'll quickly, yes, sir. I'd like to also recognize Mrs. Kemi Anima Shaun, she's a board member as well as the owner of a multinational, we'll call it. It's both an indigenous and also a multinational clothing line called Wikabani. If you haven't bought something for Wikabani, you haven't done your shopping well, especially for our ladies. Mrs. Kemi, we're glad to have you here.
Good morning. Thank you all. Thank you for joining in.
Good morning.
Very important discourse. Thank you. God bless all our children.
Amen.
Amen. Also, I can see another distinguished member of the board, Mrs. Funke Kuyoro. Mrs. Funke Kuyoro is a board member, as I've said, as well as the owner of TWC Events Management Company. Mrs. Kuyoro, we're glad to have you here.
Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today as we celebrate our children.
Good morning.
Thank you, Ma. I thought I spotted Mrs. Yemisi Shitu as well as our co-convener, that is Mr. Olaumi Edwards. I can't see them at the moment, but if you're here, maybe you signed in with another.
It's on Facebook.
Oh,
it's on
okay.
Facebook, monitoring the Facebook. Yes, it's on Facebook.
Oh, okay.
It's fine.
All right. Salute you, sir. So, Mrs. Yemisi Shitu, I spotted you a few minutes ago. Are you still on, ma? Okay. Thank you so much. We also want to appreciate Olamide Rufai, our executive assistant to the foundation, as well as all of our volunteers who have worked so well behind the scenes. We also thank all of our members from community, the church community we belong to. That's the Citadel Global Community Church, as well as our families and friends who are on this call. We recognize all of you and we thank you for joining us in this discourse today. We'll just do a quick check-in to know where Ms. Nkurumbi is, and then we'll continue with the conversation. But is she on now, on any of the platforms?
I think she hasn't come on here. Ms. Nkurumbi, are you here? I don't think so. Because we don't have any issue. Nobody's waiting anymore. Except she's having an issue. She's trying to call me now. She's trying to call me. Then I can. And of course, Biola, you have not introduced yourself that you're part of the board.
Oh, yeah.
We'll just start for you.
Thank you. My name is Biola Lasseide. I'm a board member. I'm also co-moderating the session with Fumilola Shelika. Sorry, Shelika, the lovely name.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much, Madam Biola. So I guess we'll just await next speaker before we can continue, and then maybe check out the questions we have on Facebook for our last speaker, Mr. Patrick Adenusi.
Okay.
Then we can get back to that. So you can still hold on the bits while I try to get this across now.
Okay. I think I'll just take the liberty to invite our chairman, Mr. IDN. We know you're extremely passionate about this, and so we'd like to just hear from you for about 5 minutes. Mr. Enan, please.
Well, Abiola, I don't know what to do with you, but I know that the fine, and it's one cow because of the day. I'll be able to feed all the children that are around me. Well, I don't know where to start, but I think first and foremost, I would like to put it more or less as a charge. And this charge for me is a sense of responsibility that we all, especially those of us on this call, should take away from today. Many times when they are community-based, we tend to look at somebody. We tend to look out for somebody that will do something. You know, we never really focus on ourselves as the body. We don't realize that we are that somebody every other place but ourselves. As we look at this particular subject in time, I would like to give us a charge that let's begin that from ourselves. When you find anything around you that does not enable others that are otherwise able to function, let's try to do something about it. Let's try in our little way to look at the next generation, because the only way life can continue so MD, you want to say something? Biola, can you hear me?
Yes, sir, we can hear you.
Okay.
Loud and clear.
So I just wanted to put that as a charge, and take it from a standpoint of personal responsibility, because when we look at the whole mission around Strap and Save Child, it started as a vision that God gave to our own MD Bola Edwards. But she's, in the course of the day, gone on the rail track, and at every station, a lot of us are boarded. But as we board, do we on board with the consciousness that Bola is just, at best, a spearhead or arrowhead, that we are the shaft? But as we become the shaft, we also see that there's a lot required of us to also spearhead other things that will happen concerning the health, the well-being of our children primarily, but also the world at large. And I trust God that by His grace and His mercy, each of us will start looking for that one thing that will help humanity be better, that will help humanity function better. It's not just about the infrastructure, but it's actually about the vessel. The main structure is a human being. Once the human being is well structured, body, mind, and spirit, every other structure will fall in place. And I believe with all of my heart that talks like this will always help us. But please, my charge is, let us not look at it and say, somebody is doing it. No, nobody is doing it because you are that somebody. Let us rise from today and look at ourselves differently and begin to structure our environment and ensuring that people truly become the best of gifts and trustees that we are will fulfill destiny by God's grace. Thank you very much, Biola, for the privilege, and I hope whatever task you gave to me.
We're losing you out, sir. We're losing you a bit. Are you still there?
No, I'd finished.
Okay. Okay, I got the last part, just trailed off a bit. So
Yeah.
thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, so very much. We really appreciate you. And this charge is really clear that we need to look inward and recognize that one thing that we have or that we are that will help humanity function better. For me, if it has to be, then it's up to us. If it has to be, it's up to me. Thank you. We'll take that along with what Mr. Patrick Adunise has said about the various changes that we can make one step at a time, one person at a time, each one reaching one, and ensuring that we're able to push the needle and move it a little bit. So thank you so much for that, sir. It's a strong charge, and we really appreciate you for it. I'll move over to the convener now to check if we have our next speaker on board. Bola.
Yeah, honestly, it's just so funny this morning. She just can't get in. I don't know why. She's using the same link and she can't come in. But she will come in. My day is trying to see to that. While we're trying to sort the technical bits of that out. Can we have a thumbs up from Milayo Samara's parents if they're here right now? We have a beautiful girl that has spinal bifida. We're going to show a short video of her. We would love to see or know if the parents are here. If they're not, they would get in touch with them. And if there's anybody from Jonab, the association that has all the disabled people in Nigeria, we have any representative here so that we can acknowledge you? Please just do a thumbs up if you're here. We can see you wave at us. If there's anybody from that side, because we actually have an interpreter that is interpreting to those who are a bit impaired right now. So Adeye, get Fumilayo's video ready, just in case we might have to shoot that before Miss Ogorombi comes on. She would come in. I can assure you that she will come in because she has to speak here today. And if Fumilayo's parents, by any chance, for adventure, they come on, please give a thumbs up or just give us a nudge so that we can acknowledge your presence here. And anybody from that association as well. We're celebrating everyone today. Thank you. Adeye, you wouldn't mind having that video now? Thank you. Okay, can you hear me? Please
I can hear you.
Okay, take the video again so that we can do a narration. We can do a narration for Fumilayo. We said here that we absolutely love Fumilayo. She's what we call joy. Despite being born with spinal bifida, she's been doing her best, learning and living like every normal child would. However, she, along with her parents, live on the first floor, and she has to be carried every day to the house because the wheelchair cannot be rolled on the staircase. You know, Mr. Patrick mentioned it that a lot of our buildings are not purpose built, especially for the physically challenged. So there's nowhere to roll this wheelchair, so she still has to be carried to the first floor every day if she has to go out or go to school. Fumilayo doesn't disturb Fumilayo living the life that God has ordained for her. Everyone deserves to be kept safe. Let's do our best, even as we ensure the safety of children who are physically challenged. She's 5 years old, and she's in basic home, and she's has such a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful soul, living life to the fullest. I will live life to the fullest. That's the story that we're sharing this morning about Fumilayo. The parents were gracious enough to do that view for us so that we can share it about her. Then for Miss Ogurobi Funke, who was trying to get in as our next speaker, she was also born with spinal bifida, and she's living with it. She's on the wheelchair. She's doing so much, even at that. She's, we'll read out, we don't want to read her CV right away. We would have loved for her to come on before we read her CV. So over to you, Babiola, over to you.
Okay. Hello, Mrs. Edwards. Am I to take on our profile now?
Yes, okay, I think you should go ahead. Go ahead and take on a profile. They will probably run a slide.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Run a slide.
I think that's fine. Okay. Miss Olufunke Ogurombi is the Vice Chairperson, Family and Children Committee of Joint National Association of Persons with Disabilities, JONAPERD. Female, single, and she's born with the spina bifida. She has an OND Science Lab Technology from the University of Agriculture, Abeokuta in Ogun State. She has a BA in Psychology from a University of South Africa. Certificate of Participation in Child and Vulnerable Adult Safeguarding, organized by Lillian Foundation, Switzerland. Certificate in Induction course for Newly Registered Cooperative Society, organized by Lagos State Cooperative Society. She's the Managing Director of Wandi Stores. She's a volunteer, Program Director, Center for Citizens and Disabilities. She's also a volunteer and Go Folic Ambassador with Festus Fajemilo Foundation. Her hobbies, she loves reading inspirational books, gardening, traveling, cooking, and exploring new projects and ideas. She currently works in the civil service at Orile Agege LCDA as an admin and HR officer. I've not met her in person, but I've been privileged to speak with her maybe like once or twice, and really she's so full of life. When the MD said she's actually on a wheelchair and all of that, I actually didn't believe it, because when you see her, she looks so normal, like every other person to me. And really, it goes to say that they also have a chance to live. They are also human, and their safety should be paramount. As a child, would have loved to hear her story today, because she would have shared the things she went through growing up and how she has been even up till now. But like the convener said, we'd have to run through her or who she really is. And I pray she still gets to come in and join us before this session ends. So back to Adeye. Can we go through her slides now? Adeye, are you here? Hello, can everyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you from
Yes,
Okay,
yes, we
okay.
can hear you.
Adeye, can we have a slide? Let's just quickly run through it.
We're trying to make her come in through Facebook. If she can log in through Facebook, we're trying
Yes,
to do
I
that now.
tried contacting her via Facebook, but she didn't respond. I saw her comment there and tried responding to her.
So Adeye, we
Okay,
need to
so do
see
we
to
just
that.
hold on? Should we just hold on?
It'll be good for her to let's leave the slide this way. And at the same time, we wouldn't like to leave people hanging and just waiting. You know, we would still love to have one or two things that would love to share with us here, because she has to be part of this meeting. Why she's not logging in is I can't understand.
Okay, Madam Andy, I would implore you to share our tribe story so that we can get more people to join in on the good works of Strap and Save Foundation, Child Foundation.
Okay, I'll do that. Okay, good morning once again for those who are just joining in. We're so sorry if you've been kept in the waiting room. It wasn't deliberate. We're not the one who kept you waiting. You know how this technology works. We just never knew how. I can see you. I can see my brother all the way from America. Fafore, good morning. I can see you.
Good morning. Thank you.
Joining.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you for joining, and thank you so much. So we are going to really look at the things that we've been doing in the last 8 years that Strap and Save Child has been in existence. And it's not been easy, I must say, because we have people who just don't see that it's important for you to have child safety NGO, because really, what's in it? Child safety. But we have decided that we're going to take this challenge on, and no matter what, we'll continue to preach safety at home, safety at school, and safety on the road, which is why the tribal came into existence about 3 years ago. And what we do is that we were able to launch a safety club in some schools right now in Lagos, in some private schools. And what we do with those schools is that we go to those schools to go teach them on everything safety. Talk about CPR, children using their seatbelt whilst they're on the road or when they're being driven, safety when they're on the playground, at school, even safety when it comes to security safety as well. You know, making sure that they are safe at home, especially now that the lockdown has to them. Children have been locked down for like 2 months now, and they have not been able to express themselves as a child should. So it's not been easy. We've been actually trying to intervene with all the children. We have to leave them at home, because also safety is very key. They have to also be careful about the things that are around them. We talk about electricals to them. We talk about having their bath and not having to drown in the tub. We had a story shared with us by parents whose baby got drowned a year and a half ago. 18-month-old child went into the bathtub, got into the bucket, and drowned himself. Unfortunately, before anybody could get to the place, the baby had passed on. These are the kind of safety tips that we've also been able to tell children. How do you know? Water is so beautiful, but in the end, it can also lead to somewhat kind of disaster. We've also had cases where children get electrocuted, you know, with wires in the house. Parents at times don't even know that these wires are faulty, and wire mixed with water, electricity, boom, that's it. We have burns as well. Children are now getting to cook. Like my boys do all the time now that they're at home. They like to watch the Food Network. They watch the Food Network, and all they just want to do is cook Bobby Faye's food, try out some cuisine, and all of that. All this has to be done under proper supervision so that we don't have them getting hurt or getting, injured. So these are the safety tips we also carry out for them. How about when even adults at times do have difficulty, they need to have CPR done, either for the children or even the child needs to have a CPR done for the adults. It does happen. I have a friend who just dramatized it in her home in London, and she was just watching and watching the children if they're going to come to her head. And all she did was she just went flat on the floor, and she did like she was passing out. And all they could do was screaming, throwing up, and they were also hysterical. Mommy, 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 what's wrong with you? And they were all just crying. And she looked at them and said, wow. So she got up after 2 minutes and said, my goodness, what have I done? That means I have failed. These children didn't know what to do. From that moment onward, she began to teach them how to perform CPR on anybody that's having difficulty in breathing. And those first few minutes are very key. So she taught them, and that's how she also started safety interventions. And now people get to know how to do CPR. She's also passing on the baton to children as well. I had my son trained on CPR when he turned 7. So I told him that just in case, it doesn't have to be mommy or daddy or anyone, just in case you see anyone, passing out, taking all the precautionary measures, put them in place. There's COVID in town. We can't afford to we can't do the mouth to mouth right now, but there are ways that you can also perform the CPR so that not in the midst of trying to save others, you're not also contracting something to yourself. So these are the things that we've been carrying out. And we have ambassadors. We call up the safety children safety ambassadors as Strap and Safe. The ambassadors who are beginning to reel out the education that we are giving to them on safety. Now they are beginning to preach it to their own colleagues as well, because you see, safety cannot be overemphasized. You can't say, no, just this particular children should be in charge. We have those ambassadors so that they can be the forerunners, they can be the spearhead, they can be the voice of Strap and Safe at their school. And we're so happy that we'll be going into the public school as well, because really everyone needs to be safe. Every child needs to be safe. So we should be starting off with all the designated primary schools and secondary school actually in Lagos State has been given to us to begin to have interventions at those schools, to talk about safety to them. In fact, when I go on the road and I see how they cross the road, my heart really bleeds. You can't give what you don't have. At times there's so much levity when it comes to safety. They look at you and say, nothing is going to happen to me. They're backing the traffic. You see a child walking on the side road and is backing the oncoming traffic. Really, this shouldn't be. It's not right. And these are the things that we also teach them, that you need to be careful. When you're right on the road, you need to face the traffic, face the oncoming traffic so that you don't get hit. And peradventure, it's a car that is coming at you, you can quickly avoid that. We celebrate Pedestrian Day, we celebrate International Children's Day, and sadly enough, we also celebrate World Day of people who have gone, through accidents. That is celebrated on the first Sundays in November. It's unfortunate that at the end of the World Decade of Action has come to an end 10 years after, and really the story hasn't changed. In fact, it has really worsened the situation. In Nigeria, as it is, the statistics we have is staggering. It says we were meant to bring down the mortality rate to 50%. That is that's what everyone in every country was supposed to have done. But right here in Nigeria, it has gone up. It has gone up. And if being fair enough, the FRSC officials are here, they're being truthful, they will tell you that the statistics has really gone up, which means we're having bad statistics on a daily basis. And it's funny enough, it's good, it's quite really, it's coming to know that the pandemic has kind of reduced the road accidents. The recording of road accidents, I have some of my tribe here, Mr. Ike, Mr. Patrick, Akife, they're part of this advocacy that we've been preaching, that I don't know what the statistics is right now, especially since the pandemic started. But we haven't heard on the news that, oh, there's an accident happening here or something has happened. A few had happened, a handful, but it has really reduced. And this, of course, is to the fact that there's minimal vehicular movements on our roads. And for those who are moving, they're moving at a slow pace because there are some border constraints in some states right now. So people are not really moving at the pace that they would have loved to move. So really not to bore you, all we are just saying today is we don't want to add more to the statistics that is already so bad, especially for the children. Adults also, not about the children, but today is all about our children. The statistics is staggering. We don't want it to increase. We want it to go down. Now, the Sustainable Development Goals 2030 must record that we have done well with the mortality that we are getting in our country. So we hope that for the next 10 years, we are going to have a more encouraging statistics. Thank you. I can see the thumbs-ups from Mr. Ike. We're really looking forward to that. That we hope that by the end of 2030 or before the end of 2030, we will have a fantastic, encouraging statistics of people who are getting involved in road accidents. At this time, I think Ms. Ogorombi is finally in. Ms. Ogorombi, are you there? I think you're finally in. Please, we need to hear you. Are you in now? You're the one we've been waiting for. Ms. Ogorombi?
She's not here. She's on the Facebook.
She's here. She's in.
I'm here.
Welcome,
Yes.
ma'am.
Oh.
Thank you. I almost started crying.
I can imagine.
Beautiful.
I was using the other link that we were having until I saw the ID.
I told you.
Oh.
I told you.
Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. Everybody, please, I'm so sorry. Oh, thank God that I'm finally in.
Yes, I was. Okay. So this is Mr. Gorombi. For me,
do I need to put on the video or not? Or I should just
Yes,
go?
we'd like to see your face. We'd like to see your face, please. We'd like to see your beautiful face.
Oh, jeez.
Sorry. Just take a breather. Good to see you this morning.
Mm-hmm.
So good to have you. So good to have you.
Thank you.
So good to have you. So Adeye, so we have Mr. Patrick has spoken. We have read your very long CV. Your beautiful loaded CV has been read. Yes.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you
I'm
for
trying
all that.
to catch my breath.
I know. Just take a deep breath and breathe in and breathe out. Breathe in and breathe out. You'll be fine. We Fumilayo's video, and I've said a story about Fumilayo. And I asked to know if Fumilayo's parents were here. I didn't get any. Maybe before you're done, we will get a nudge from the Samaras that that are here with us. And anyone that is from, yes, and anyone from the association, please, you would be the one to call out after your presentation so that we know they're here. We have an interpreter who's been admitted in. Yes, the interpreter is also on. So your slide will be ran through right now. Don't worry, just take your time, take a deep breath. We are here for you. Okay?
Yeah.
Sorry everyone, hope we are not. Adeye, over to you, please. Let's share Mr. Gorombi's screen. And like Fumi said, that she's shared with us that you were born with spina bifida.
Spina bifida. Yes.
Bifida. Yes, bifida. Yes.
Bifida.
You can say
yes.
That was bifida. Yes. Over to you. You can say it. Please tell us what that's about.
Bifida.
Tell us what that's about.
Spina bifida. It means the spina bifida means an open spine. That is an incomplete closure of the spinal cord. So that is what the spina bifida is. So for my presentation today, I hope you can hear me clearly.
Yes, we can,
Yes,
ma.
yes,
Hello?
yes, we can. Yes,
Okay.
we can.
Okay. So here, I'm going to start by defining who a physically challenged child is. So a physically challenged child is a child that is born with health problems in his or her body. That is, it's a child that has a kind of deformity, that is born with a kind of limitation in the body. And that child finds it difficult to do one thing or the other. It could be bone deficient, stillbirth. It could also be mental challenge. That's the type that you call intellectual disability. Some disabilities are not physical, that you cannot easily see. So, but for a child that is born with a physical disability, you can easily see it. Just like we talk about spinal bifida, an incomplete closure of the spinal cord, and it affects it could affect the lower limbs, or depending on where there is the opening in the spinal cord. And so that child is born with that deformity in his or her body. Then a physically challenged child has problem with movement. Example of physical challenges are cerebral palsy, spinal bifida, spinal cord injury, amputation, multiple sclerosis, musculoskeletal injury, and arthritis. Those are kind of posture problems, movements that a child could be. When we talk about safety of a challenged child, safety measure for physically challenged child could vary according to the handicap of the child. And as we know that all disabilities are not the same. A child may have the same type of disability, but they can still be different in many ways, because two persons are not the same. So, just like I am born with a spinal bifida, a child or a person that also suffers spinal bifida, we may not have the same kind of problem that we go through. Most spinal bifida person has so many kind of complications that limit their movement, and even in the organs of the body, there are some abnormalities that comes with being spinal bifida, like incontinence, like impure circulation of the body. So all those things are part of it. So the safety of the child with physical challenges is to keep the child safe and secure from harm and injury. It is to make a happy and healthy child regardless of the challenge. So just like we are talking about safety of a child with physical challenge, we know that the safety of a child with physical challenge is very important, and that is what makes a child a healthy and a safe, happy child. Because regardless of these challenges, we need to keep them happy. We need to keep them okay. We need, just like, I need to use myself as an example. Being a spinal bifida person, while I was growing up, I have some kind of issues with my limbs, which causes an ulcer to develop on my foot. So as a result of that, I have to be on the wheelchair. I have to use the wheelchair to help me to move around places where I go. So we have some problems, issues in this. Some issues in the society does not make a child with physical challenge to be acceptable. And some of these challenges are stigmatization. A child with a physical challenge who is not moving well, who can can be stigmatized, can be abandoned just because of the physical disability that the child is having. There are so many beliefs that we have about a child with a disability. So some of the problem in the society includes stigmatization, discrimination. This child is
Sorry.
he has a big
Hello,
head.
hello, Miss
This
Ogoromi.
ma,
So
ma,
sorry, so sorry.
ma.
I'm sorry. I'm so
Yes.
sorry to interject. Please, the couple of our
Okay.
participants who have both the audio and the video on. But there's a gentleman right now
Yes.
who is walking around, and his video and audio are
Okay.
both on. Please, can you mute your mic so that we can hear Miss Ogoromi well? Please. Please mute your mic. And some of us have forgotten. So please mute your mic so that we can hear. There's so much interference at the background. Thank you so much. You may please continue, ma'am.
Okay. So when you talk about safety, just like I was saying, the safety of a child with physical challenge is to keep the child safe, secure from harm, and happy. It is to help the child to grow like every other child. Problem with safety, daily life's problem with there are some disabilities that has some issues about what the challenge will do for that child. That is the limitation that each challenges could bring for the child. So I have highlighted some of these child with to be able to move around, to be able to get enough how do I put it now? To be able to get enough help, safety for them to be able to move around very well. So daily with visual impairment can also have problems moving around the house or arranging his clothes, because a child with people with impairment depends on object and shapes. So I'm sorry, maybe I hope I'm not too fast, because this unable to get myself in has really destabilized me. So I'm trying to compose myself as much as possible.
You are doing just fine. You are doing
We can
just fine.
understand.
You are doing
Okay.
fine. Okay.
So I'm trying to highlight some of the challenges that each some of the problems that each of these challenges can pose on a child with a physical challenge. And for someone on a wheelchair, just like you have seen the picture, video clip of Samara Fumilayo, the member of the Festus Fajo Miller Foundation, we discovered that for a child on a wheelchair, she has problem with hands, because you use your hand to move around on the wheelchair. So there's a tendency for a dirty hand with blisters, inaccessible ramp, to be able to move around using on our roads like we have here now. It's not possible. But if there is an accessible ramp for a child on a wheelchair, it will make it easy for that child to be able to move around. There will be accessibility for that child. Then another problem that a child with on a wheelchair has is impatience of others, because just like I've spoken about stigmatization and discrimination, a lot of people they don't have enough patience for a child on a wheelchair. Even not even a child, an adult, even like myself, you want the person to come in like that. Those are some of the problems that a child on a wheelchair faces. Then, getting through narrow doors. For instance, some of our toilets, you discover that except for a place that really has the mind of the wheelchair user in mind, a lot of a person on a wheelchair cannot enter through a narrow door, especially of toilets, even in public places. So those are some of the problems that arises with mobility. Then, a person on a wheelchair, a child on a wheelchair, can become in, people may not even take notice of it. So some of the areas that we have a problem with person on a wheelchair, especially even if it's a child, the child could find it difficult to be noticed. And then, not being able to access the elevator. Then all these problems are part of the things that a child has. Just like I said that on a clip that Fumilayo has, that she lives upstairs and coming downstairs is very difficult because she has to use a wheelchair and she has to use the staircase. So suppose in such a house there's an elevator or there's a kind of ramp, it makes it easy for the child to be able to move around. So moving around will not be an issue. Then, for a child with hearing impairment, hearing disability, this child suffers psychological problem like depression, like anxiety, because they feel isolated. You can imagine not being able to hear, not being able to hear what the other person is saying, or not being able to communicate with everybody around. So the child will feel isolated, you will feel bored. Then the hearing ability is critical to speech. It's when a child can hear very well that he will be able to speak well. And so they have problem with speech and language development. So loss of hearing causes delay in development of speech. Learning problem also results from not being able to hear or not being able to do well in class. So those are some of the problems that a child with a physical challenge has. So what of a child with intellectual disability? Problem that a child with intellectual disability has. He has a low cognitive function and being limited in activity in daily lives, limited in learning and coordination. That child will, because of they make use of their brain, and there are limitations to what they can be able to do or not to do. So they have limited learning. You have to be able to move at their pace. And they are it's such a problem that they are not able to decide what they want to do or what they cannot do. They have difficulty in performance, especially in academics. Some of them, they are good at learning skills, maybe like a piano or singing or doing artwork, such like that. So their language are slow, and they have impaired speech. They have difficulty performing even in academics. So you have to work according to their pace. They have a low intelligence quotient. They are not able to decide what to do, whether they should do this or they should do that. So they need to be helped. They need to be assisted in major things that they do. So because of all these problems that children with challenges. I don't want to use the word disabilities. I want to use the word challenge. Because of these challenges, these limitations they encounter, they are not happy. People, they are stigmatized, they are discriminated. There are so many myths and misconceptions about children with a physical challenge. Sometimes they may say, maybe it is as a result of punishment for their mother, or or as a result, they are a semi-god. Sometimes they call them a semi-god. Sometimes they have to, the family members, they have to make the mother or the parent do some things, visit spiritual houses in order to to help them to heal the child, or the kind of all kinds of beliefs that they have. So these children, they are sometimes seen as a semi-god, or a punishment, or a kind of thing from the gods. So those are the problems that a child with a physical challenge faces. They also face both emotional abuse. They are children with challenge. They are prone to abuse, various types of abuse. It can be physical. Like we have a situation whereby we hear of parents who will lock their child indoor. They will not bring them out. There was a story I read, maybe I think about last week, of a parent that actually locked a child who is challenged. They actually tied the child into a sack, in a bag, and kept the child in the house, just because the child has a challenge in the body. So they are prone to torture. They are prone to all kind of physical abuse, flogging, starvation. You will hear of families that will not even feed this child because they are tired of, they don't know what they should, maybe because they don't know what to do, or because of what they have heard about the child. A lot of people even are ashamed of bringing out their child with a physical challenge. I remember in my own experience, I want to thank God, because my parents, they 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 always showcase me when they have visitor. Then you will see some family, when visitors arrived in in the house, they will drive that child, or go and lock the child inside, so that the child cannot be seen, or will not, people will not know that they have a child who has a challenge. But it's not like that. You need to accept your child regardless of the physical challenge. No, regardless of whatever the child is having, you need to accept that child, because he's like every other child. He's like every other normal child. It is the way you treat that child that the child will grow up to be. People come around and ask for Ade or Wale, who is your child that has a problem with his or her body. You don't need to send the child inside, or lock the child, or not bring the child. Some families, you discover that sometimes when they have social gathering, they will not even take that child along, because they are ashamed of the child. So those are some of the problems that we have, that a child with a physical challenge faces. If parents, if they are able to accept the child, and uh, treat the child with love and affection, that child will grow to become somebody. He will have a positive self-image about his or herself. So what is the solution towards safety? Because we have highlighted some of the problems, some of the the problems that these children with physical challenge has with different um, abnormalities that they encounter. So what is the solution towards safety? One of the solutions towards safety is always, because when that child is born, you discover that 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 uh, that child is born in an hospital, and the doctor would have told the parents, this is what the child is about, this is what the child is about, this is what he can do or cannot do. So as the child is growing up, you need to always consult medical experts for advice. This child is experiencing this kind of thing. This one is experiencing this kind of thing. What should I do? What can be done? How do we go about this? So it is always good that you consult medical experts for advice. Don't hide the child in the house. You 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 get you even have to, after you have gotten the medical advice and doctor has informed you about the challenge child is going through and some of the limitations, some of the things that this child is able to do and not be able to do, then you need to educate that child to know about his or her disability. When that child knows about what is, if I know what is wrong with me, then I know how to take care of myself. So you need to let the child know about the problem he or she knows, he or she has, and then be able to take care of himself or herself. And that if you notice that this child has a particular issue, let the child know, why am I this? Why is this so? When you experience this, when you experience that, this is what you will do. So you educate that child about his or her disability. And you also let the school, because most parents don't tell the teachers about their child. And it is always better when a child starts school. It's always better to allow the teacher and even the school authority to know what your child is experiencing or what are the challenges of the child, so that they can be able to help or assist when and where it is necessary. So when a child with a physically challenged child starts school, allow the teacher or somebody, a caregiver or somebody who is close by, to know what this child is experiencing. A child with hearing impairment will need full visual access to the classroom. The classroom needs to be arranged in such a way that the child will have full participation and they will be able to, because a child with hearing impairment will need to sometimes read the lips of the person that is talking. So you need to let them have full access to have full access and participation in the classroom, and then thereby they will be able to engage with one another in the classroom. For a child with a hearing impairment, when there is danger, you need to be able to put out something that child will be able to see, maybe that like a kind of light that will be flashing. Because they cannot hear, they will need to be able to see something that is giving them signal that there is danger. So those are some of the things that a child with a hearing impairment will need to have to keep them safe and sound. A child with disability can be trained according to the level of his or her challenges. I want to share my experience as a person living with spinal bifida and when I was going to school. When I was going to school, I discovered that when I was going to school, my friends, they are even the one that help me most, because they know my challenge, they know what I'm able to do, they know what I am unable to do. Thereby, they come to assist me in whatever I want to do. So when you allow your child to, you allow people around, the significant other, those around the child, the friends and the teacher, when you allow them to know what your child is experiencing, when that child has an issue, they will be able to assist, to help. They will know that Funke has a problem, let me assist her in this way or that way. And another aspect towards safety is that a child needs to be in a mainstream school, whereby that will be able to boost the image, the self-esteem of that child. It helps to boost their accommodation, their adaptation into the community. So, way forward to safety for a child with physical challenge is for us to get enough awareness to know that every awareness about a child with disability, that is knowing what is right and what this child needs, what this child needs to require to keep safe. And we also need to have that awareness that every child is a child first before the disability. We should not treat a child because of the way we see him or her. We should accept I have this child, I must accept him the way he is. So that awareness have to be there. That awareness have to be there that this child is like every other person in the family. It needs to be accepted, it needs to be loved, it needs to be cared for. It needs education. That a physically challenged child needs education, which education the education includes inclusive education. That is, you allow your child to be in the normal mainstream school. I am a result of a mainstream education. I was never taken to any special school. From my nursery school to my primary, my secondary, even my university, I was not taken to any special school. I had my education in the mainstream school, like every other child who is not challenged. So that helps to boost my self-image. It helps to boost my self-esteem. So, and we should also know that even in education, every child has different learning and communication styles. So you have to give to that child what it requires. If a child can learn through song, then teach the child through songs. If the child can learn through visual video or visual equipment, use that as a form of education to that child. A child living with physical challenge has a right to quality and sound education. So that is one thing that we should put in our mind, that because he has a kind of a limitation, it doesn't mean that he cannot go to school or he cannot learn. Even if you cannot afford to take him to the normal, a good school, you can, like maybe he has a low performance in learning, you can allow the child to learn one skill, maybe in shoemaking, in tailoring, music, and all those kind of things. So a child with physical challenge has right to quality and sound education. Then you need good resources. Just as you are also learning, the child also needs to learn about his or herself. And that is one thing I make sure I do for myself. Every time I try to know more about spinal bifida. Every time I try to know more how I should improve and help myself. So those are some of, you need resources. You need to have books. You go online, go to check on Google. Maybe you discover some things about this child, or maybe the doctor gave informed you about some certain things. You need to have proper educational material. A child also needs to have a proper educational material to be able to know more about his or herself. Do you know that it was while I was researching about spinal bifida that I got to know that deficiency in folic acid will cause a child to have if a child could be born with a congenital defect. A child could be born with, due to lack of spinal folic acid, when the mother, the child is growing, or maybe the mother is about to conceive. If the if there is not enough folic acid, the child can develop any kind of abnormalities. So it was when I was researching that I found myself using internet and reading books, that I get to know how I am going to take care of, how I should take care of myself as a person with as a child that was born, as a child that is born with a congenital defect. So those are the importance of resources. Then what are the way forward into keeping a child with physical challenge safe? We need, there's need for our government to create policies that gives a child right to education. We need policies that will give it. We need these children to need to be educated. These children too need to go to school to be somebody, to be able to be independent in their in life. If I was not given a proper education, if I was not brought up to to to, to learn, to have education, I wouldn't. God knows, I may not even be where I am today. I may not even be able to walk, or to be independent of myself. So when a policy is made and is monitored, then this child will be able to be somebody in the future. Then there should be policies that safeguard the best interests of these children. Even in our hospitals, children with physical challenge needs to be given special care. They need to be attended to as prompt as possible. And so there needs to be more advocacy to protect the rights of the physical challenged child. If a child is protected, the right of a child is protected, a family who wants to harm it, who feel that this child is of no use, will not be able to do that, because that family will know that if I treat this child like this, I will be punished. The government will come after me. The government will do this or do that. So there is need for an advocacy that will protect the rights of every physically challenged children. Then lastly, I will also advise parents to join peer help them, that we assist them in, that will support them and assist them psychologically, emotionally, and sometimes financially to be, when you know that you are not the only one, and you know that this person, I'm not the only person that has a child with a deformed leg or deformed bones, that you see they are able to see somebody else, then you will share ideas, you will share you will share your emotions with one, you'll be able to encourage one another in in uh, in whatever you are experiencing. So I'm employing parents to to be able to join support groups so that they can be encouraged, they can learn from one another. There are some support groups around us, just like we have, if I don't know if people that are a family of a member of a Festus Fajemilo Foundation are around, they are in the audience, they can be able to testify how these support groups have been helped to them. Even support groups like that of even Star Children Development Initiative, organized by Mrs. Alexander, the, we have parents there that come together to speak about how their children can improve, how their children can move forward, how they can what they have experienced, how they can also help their child that is growing with one form of disability or the other. Even myself, some parents, some people will call me, Sister Funke, my child is this. Some of these children that are still growing up, some parents will, this my child is this. Did you experience this kind of thing or that? Then I'll be able to tell them that this too also happened to me when I was growing up, and then they feel relieved. What can I do to this situation? We will share together. If this is so, this is what you do. If that is so, this is what you do. So it is good to establish. It is good for our government or NGOs to establish support groups, counseling centers, whereby the parents with children with physical challenge can go and find help, can find support in times of need. I don't know, I hope I've been able to break all these things down, and then I can make a kind of exposition to all the things that are discussed. Thank you.
Let's give her a round of applause. Let's give her a round of applause. Thank you so much, Ms. Funke Ogurumli. You've actually done so much well for us, because you've broken it down and a whole lot more about the safety of a child with challenge. Like you said,
I can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Can
Yes,
anybody
I can
hear me? Okay. Like she said, they shouldn't be termed as children with disability.
Check your hands free. Check your hands free.
This thing is dead.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me now? I just started speaking
But we
now.
can hear you. We can see you.
We can hear you. We can see you.
Okay.
I still cannot hear you.
Wow.
You check your audio towards the left.
Yes, check your audio very well, because we heard you very well.
She can't hear us, so there's no way she can actually know what to do out there.
That's funny.
No, but that's it.
This okay, how far? Can you hear us now? I think it's a network. I'm sure it's a network. I'm sure it's a network. Go ahead for me. Please go ahead so that we can.
Can you hear me now?
We can hear you loud and clear. We can hear
Okay.
you.
Thank you
We
so
can
much,
hear you.
Miss Funke.
There's a
Rombi.
problem with the speaker. I cannot hear. But can you hear me?
Yes,
Loud and
but
clear,
how are you
yes.
gonna know? Yeah, but we can. But you're not getting that.
Probably we just wave
thumbs
at
up.
her so she knows, okay, we can hear
Just
her.
wave
I
at
just
her.
did a thumbs up. I just did a thumbs up. We can hear you.
Yeah. Yes, Facebook.
Okay. Miss Funke, can you hear us now? Hello? Is she still here with us?
I'm having problem with hearing you.
Okay. Maybe you should go out and come back in. Maybe you should go out and come back in.
Oh no, okay, so she can hear. I was actually thinking, oh, can the sign language? Then I remember.
If anyone has a phone number, you can just call her. Just maybe give her directions about what to do.
Okay, I'll call her.
Okay.
Good.
I really want to thank her for the
Maybe I
justice.
should go onto the Facebook and see if I can
And we can hear her so loud and clear.
connect.
Okay, let's just give her like 2 minutes so we can really appreciate her for a job well done out here. Because sincerely, she's broken down some things that every single one of us it would help us to appreciate children with challenges. I heard that loud and clear when she said she does not like using the word disability, but they're just challenged. And that, first of all, the awareness should be that that person is first human, first a child before the disability. But half of the time, the disability is being put first before the child. And that actually is the stigmatization and the discrimination we get all over. I remember growing up, my elder brother had a lot of friends that were deaf. Well, till date, I've not been able to ask him where he learned the sign language from, but they were just always around him. And I kept wondering, what's your problem? They are the only one that understands whatever it is. And, you know, they laugh, and I keep wondering, what are they talking about that they're laughing? Because all we see is the sign language. And really, we have to accept these people in the society, just like she has highlighted. The acceptance is not much. We see people running away from children with disability. I have a child on my street. He can't talk. He has challenges talking, but you know he just mumbles when he's talking. I really don't know what endeared the boy to me. Every time he sees me outside, I always have something. I always have something to give him. Though I can't understand what he's saying, but I know he's trying to express himself. But I see other people chasing him away, like women that has stores in front of their houses. When they see him come, they just chase him away, like, oh, shoot, get away. So the discrimination basically is like the first thing, and the stigmatization is the major thing they get out there, even in their schools. Just like she said, in her own school, fortunately, it was her friends that were able to help them. But most schools, most children look at them like they are not normal, especially in the regular schools, unlike their own kind of school. And as she has told us, the way forward is the awareness that they are first a child before their disability. Education-wise, their inclusion in the society, not being discriminated against, where in any school they find themselves. And proper educational material should be provided for every child's need. It has to also start from the home. And also, we'll not forget the encouragement that parents with children with disability should take on counseling and join support group. I actually didn't know we had support groups in Nigeria whereby parents could get those supports from. I used to think, oh, it's just something we could get outside of the country, probably in the developed countries. But it's good to know that we have some, and she's actually mentioned a few, FFF and SDIG. So for me, Mrs. Ms. Funke has done a lot of justice to this topic that we've talked about today, and also for parents to accept that child first, because it starts from there. If they cannot accept the child for who the child is, then it will be difficult for people outside to accept them, which is where when they have friends around, they get to hide them or keep them. They have to accept it that, yes, this is a blessing from God. Yes, it might be difficult, but I know at the long run, other people would tend to respect within and outside the house. And from there, other people around them will get to love that child. And then to help the child to be conscious of their challenges, just as the doctors might have told them about it, they should educate the child more about it. And it's not just for their own information, not for their own personal consumption alone, but to also let the people around them to understand, oh, this is what the child can do. This is how you can be of help. Talking to the school, maybe the teachers, the school authorities, just basically aware, keeping people abreast as regards the challenges of the among us as being human. I'd like to appreciate Ms. Funke Ogurumbi once again. I'd like to appreciate the that has joined us. I'd like to also appreciate the parents of Fumilayo Samara. I don't know if they've been able to signify that they're on here with us. We thank them for that opportunity to allow us meet their daughter, not in person, but that short video has actually introduced her to us. And like we call her Joy, she will continually be a joy to the family. Also, we'd like to appreciate Mrs. Bayoku of Jonapad. She's called Mama Deaf. Yes, she's impaired, but she has, we have the sign language guy here that helped her to understand the conversation that we've been going on with her. And the whole crew, the whole family of Jonapad. I also like to appreciate Mr. Patrick Adenusi and everyone that has joined on here today. I know we've known much about the challenges of children and disability and how the solutions on how to help them, not discriminating against them, try to love them regardless that firstly they're human and they're a child before the disability. I'd like to call on Mr. Bokumi for a vote of thanks and then our convener for our last words for today. Thank you all for hanging on there even from the beginning up till now and accepting all our technology hitch, here in, here out. We love you and we hope to have you around. And once again, I want to Facebook and Twitter. The IDs, the handles will be posted soon via the links will be posted soon by a day. Yeah, I hope that is getting on ready so that we can continue the conversation here and there. We can have your questions there. Sorry, we couldn't get the questions on here because the chat was not enabled. The chat icon was not enabled on here. So would like to continue the conversation on our Facebook page, on our Instagram, and also on our Twitter page. And we know the speakers will be there to respond to all the questions that you have. So Mrs. E, is there something you'd have to say before Bukumi takes the vote of thanks? Mrs. Edward, are you here?
Yes, very much here. You said it all. Is to thank you everyone for being part of this webinar. It's the new normal. We'll be having more of these conversations in days to come. Thank you to my Road Safety Coalition, Ike, Mr. Patrick, everyone, Mrs. Sister, everyone. I can't begin to mention names now. The Strap and Safe Child Foundation volunteer team, fantastic people, Adeye, you have Anu, you have Fumi Shalika, everyone. We say a big thank you to everyone also who joined in from the association. We can't say enough thank yous to you. Thank you to our road safety friends as well. Our supporters, Mr. Latif Adekweto, I can see you. Thank you so much for joining in. Dr. Baramosi from London, thank you so much. Parquet, thank you. I can't begin to mention names now. Our friend, Mr. Dikba Olu, Mr. Foray, thank you so much. Because it's Children's Day, we'll have Bukumi say the vote of thanks tonight now. Over to you, Bukumi.
I want to thank everybody for coming to this wonderful event. I hope we all had a good time. I hope we all learned something today. Please, we hope to see you next year. Hopefully, we'll be able to meet. Thank you. Stay home, stay safe.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
you stay safe
Bukumi.
too.
Stay home, stay safe. They've been staying safe for 2 months now.
Yeah.
So sorry you couldn't get your chat to us. Please, our handles will be displayed on the screen now. We will have it displayed. We were also meant to print our certificate to our speakers that will get the certificate. And thank you to everyone who has made this a very, very. Thank you. Shukran. Merci. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye-bye.
And it's been a wonderful time.
You. Thank you, Fumi. Thank you, Biola, for moderating.
Thank you, Mrs.
God bless you, real good.
For the opportunity.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Bless you. Conversation continues, please. Conversation continues.
Let Ade share the handles quickly before we start leaving the platform.
Yes, please. Ade, can you share the...
So we can get the correct
doing that chat, the chat just won't come on. It's actually at Strap and Safe. Our Instagram handle is at Strap and Safe. Strap and Safe. That's the Instagram. And Facebook is Strap and Safe Child Foundation. Strap and Safe Child Foundation. Strap and Safe at Twitter as well. Those are the handles. Follow us. Conversation continues from there. We're not stopping now. We're going back to the drawing board. We're getting our feedbacks. We want the feedbacks from you so that we can put all this together and release a communique in a few days' time. That's the whole idea. It doesn't end here. Thank you, Ms. Burumbi. Thank you so much. And extend our greetings to everybody at Jonah. Thank you so much. So we've had everybody for so long. Everybody needs to go now.
Okay. All right. Thank you, ma'am. Bye.